Now, 17 of the podcast radio host listeners have filed $150 million lawsuit against him. Dave Ramsey alleging that he played a role of defrauding them of millions of dollars when he promoted a timeshare exit company that did not get them out of their contract. Welcome back to BetterWealth Reacts. On today's reaction, we're going to react to Dave Ramsey getting allegedly sued for $150 million for his promotion of a timeshare exit company. We're going to be looking at a 2-minute clip that he endorses this exit company. Then we're going to look at a 4-minute clip that breaks down what happened, what went wrong, why people are upset. And then we're going to look at the article that just came out a few days ago talking about how Dave Ramsey allegedly got paid $30 million for a promotion of a company that's now out of business. And now some of his listeners who have trusted him for advice are saying, hey, we're going to sue you for $150 million. Sounds like an arbitrary number, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And so without further ado, we're going to get into the first video that's still up for some reason. Probably by the time you're watching this, it's going to be taken down, but luckily we have the video and we have it recorded before they take it down. So without further ado, let's jump into the 1:53 video of Dave Ramsey endorsing the timeshare exit company that now is out of business and he's being sued for.
Is on Facebook. Dave, I'm thinking about selling my timeshare. Where do I start? Well, Carol, we got really bad news. You got screwed.
I want to know how many times Dave Ramsey says that you've been screwed. It's got to be hundreds of thousands of times.
To sell a timeshare, you can't give the dadgum things away. Look your timeshare up on eBay. They're selling them for $1. People sell them for $1. Why would they do that? Because they want to get rid of the fees, the annual freaking fees.
I'm going to go to this website after and show you what it shows at daveramsey.com/recommend/timeshare exit.
And that's why you're thinking about selling it. And or you owe money on it. God help you. So I have looked at numerous ways over the years of doing the show to get people out of timeshares, and I never could find anything until I found this company called Timeshare Exit Team.
This is the company.
About 3 years ago, we started endorsing them, and I've had so much fun pissing off the timeshare people. Because Timeshare Exit Team will get you out of their timeshare. Now, you're going to pay them money to do that. That's what they do. And they charge you up front, and they give you your money back guarantee if they don't get you out, but they'll get you out. They'll get you out of your timeshare. You're just
pay them up front. You get your money back guaranteed if you don't get them out, but they'll get you out.
Stuck. They're worth nothing. They have no value. There is no market for them. There's a 99% dissatisfaction with the industry.
Not sure if that's true.
This is pretty much sucks beyond belief. And on top of that, there's several of these people selling these things that tell people in their presentation that Dave Ramsey bought one from them.
Listen to this next
part. Which is about as dumb as saying Dave Ramsey has a credit card. That's ridiculous. Now, Timeshare Exit Team. Do not talk to anybody else. These guys are the best at getting you out. Timeshare Exit Team. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
All right. Don't talk to anybody else. These people are the best. Obviously, you know, the fact that this video still exists on the internet, it's a little bit shocking, but maybe there's a reason for it. If you go to the article that was promoted, you know, by them, let me just show you what it reads. It's not a promotion for Timeshare Exit. I'm sure at one point it was a funnel to, you know, promote and say, hey, like, go check these people out. Now, if you look on the article, you know, it's how to get rid of a timeshare. It's essentially a blog post it was written October 28th, 2022. Obviously, knowing, you know, what we know, he exited his, relationship with Timeshare Exit Company because they went out of business and started getting a lot of complaints. So it's just, you know, it's just a blog article, talking about how you can get out of timeshares. What's really interesting is he has potentially used a company, and he says, number 5, use a timeshare exit company, but make sure that they have a proven track record, aka they've helped lots of people, isn't shady, aka doesn't say anything like, we'll get you out of your commitments at a low price, only to disappear after a few months. Wonder if that struck a nerve. Doesn't ask for you to pay up front. Very interesting, because Dave Ramsey said you're going to have to pay up front. So maybe looking back, that was a mistake, and then won't suggest illegal or unethical actions on your or their behalf. So again, don't know all the stories from a standpoint of that, but when you go to that link, it doesn't say anything about timeshare exit. It just is a blog article. So obviously this is a way to say, hey, like, you know, we're no longer endorsing. But as you can see, Dave Ramsey gave a very strong endorsement multiple times, said don't work with anybody. Like these people are the best. And it's built off of a passion of you just got screwed. And so when people feel that way, they're already frustrated, they're already, upset. And so it's kind of like no one's happy as it relates to working with this company. So now what I want to do before I get into the article, I want to watch one more video. This video is done by Insider Edition. They have almost 12 million subscribers, and it just talks about it investigates the complaints against Timeshare Exit Team, and they talk a little bit about Dave Ramsey. So it just gives you a little bit of context of some of what some people have been facing. So without further ado, let's jump into this.
Lisa Guerrero has a lot of dramatic moments while conducting investigations for Inside Edition. But while looking into a company that claims to help people get rid of timeshares, she ended up bruised. Here's what happened.
It may have seemed like a good investment at the time, a vacation getaway where you can spend a week or two or more. But all these folks say they rue the day they bought into an expensive timeshare.
I'm sick that I did it.
We bought the timeshare, which took us to the cleaners, and
I just hate this kind of stuff, because anything that you sell, whether it's annuity, life insurance, timeshares, investments, alternative investments, like if you start looking at some of these people and what they're saying, like took them to the cleaners, I hate that. And I wish people that were selling things had some type of like sense of like, hey, you should only buy this if you could afford to lose it. No one should buy something like a timeshare if it's their last dollar. Like, that's heartbreaking, and a lot of these people just don't know any better, and so it's the responsibility of the people selling it.
Made me feel stupid.
Financial guru and radio personality Dave Ramsey also thinks timeshares are a bad investment.
These companies are straight up evil. They are sucking the lifeblood out of America's families.
And for 3 years, he's been telling his listeners stuck in timeshares that there's a way out. A company called Timeshare Exit Team.
Timeshare Exit Team. It's the only people we endorse for getting you out of your timeshare because it works.
We felt more comfortable doing it because of Dave Ramsey's recommendation.
But he and all these customers say they regret ever signing up with Timeshare Exit Team. They spoke with Inside Edition's Ann Mercogliano.
Looking back, raise your hand if you feel you've been duped.
Mm-hmm. It was the most excruciating, annoying, horrible experience.
You're already in a bad situation trying to get out of the timeshare, and then you hire a company that you think is there to help you, only to find out that you've been duped.
In this video, the CEO of Timeshare Exit Team, Brandon Reed, tells Ramsey they offer a money-back guarantee.
We give a 100% money-back guarantee. If we can't get them out, we give them their money back. Yeah, period.
But many of the customers we spoke to say that money-back guarantee is nothing but an empty promise.
The thing that you always have to be careful about when someone says, "We'll guarantee your money," they're guaranteeing their money as long as they stay in business. So not all guarantees are created equal. This is really really important for you all to get, because a company could guarantee something, but if they go out of business, that guarantee leaves with them. So you always have to look at like the underlying promise of the guarantees. That's even insurance companies, there's guarantees, but it's built on the paying ability of the insurance company. That's hence why you want to work with big time companies that have been around a while that have dollar for dollar access that are, obviously there's regulations differences, but guarantees are only as good as the person promising them to stay in business to back up that guarantee.
We still do not have our money back.
Richard and Rosemary Sweeting say Timeshare Exit Team should refund their $5,000 because after years, they received no results and ended up negotiating themselves out of their own timeshare.
At least honor your money back guarantee.
Lawyer Greg Albert represents over 24 Timeshare Exit Team customers.
These customers are very vulnerable. They often feel that they've been victimized by the timeshare company itself, and then they get victimized again.
This is the testimony of Brandon Reed.
In this 2018 video deposition obtained by Inside Edition, Reed talks about how critical Ramsey's endorsement was for business.
When we went from radio and local endorsements to Dave Ramsey, it's like the roof. And we went from thousands to tens of thousands of customers.
We asked Ramsey for an interview about what relationship he has with the company, but he never responded.
Welcome, you guys!
So we tried to speak with him at one of his leadership conferences in Dallas.
I'm sorry, we are not doing interviews.
He didn't answer my questions and walked off into a private dinner.
Sir, keep your hands off me.
Right now.
Keep your hands off me. You're touching me. All we wanted to know is
that encounter with an employee of Ramsey left me with a sprained wrist and these bruises on my arm.
So that's ugly.
A week later,
Listen, I'm not going to get into all this. This is why I think so many people distrust the news, because I'm not going to say that she was making that up, but like you saw that encounter and it didn't seem that violent. It didn't seem that violent at all. And now she's showing like the picture that she shows and that she's in a brace. Like, again, maybe there's something that we didn't see. And so giving that the benefit of the doubt, but it's always a little bit like frustrating that that's kind of like, you know, Dave Ramsey's people were so bad, they beat me. Could be. I didn't see it. The video kind of looked like, hey, he doesn't want to take questions. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. That kind of rubs me the wrong way when I see this video, but so far the video has been a good job summing up the whole story.
He spoke about me on his show.
Mr. Ramsey, why are you endorsing Timeshare Exit Team? I'll answer your question. Why did I endorse Timeshare Exit Team? Because they were doing the right thing and getting people out of timeshares after companies had screwed them.
It's not just Timeshare Exit Team that betrayed us. Dave Ramsey betrayed us because we trusted in him.
Timeshare Exit Team is being sued by the Washington State Attorney General for allegedly violating that state's Consumer Protection Act. The company and CEO deny wrongdoing. A spokesperson tells us they've successfully helped over 23,000 people, a majority of their customers. They also gave us the names of 5 people they say are satisfied customers, but only 2 called us back to say they were happy with the company's work.
You know, out of thousands of people, they gave 5 people that were satisfied and 2 called back. Like if you serve people, like if you have enough clients, you'll always be able to cherry pick reviews. And that's why you just have to be careful. So before I get into my 2 cents, let's get into the Washington Post. This is the article that I'm pulling from. I think there's other articles as well. And if we find other ones, we'll make sure to link them down below. I believe a Christian radio or a Christian site was the first to break this, but this is, you know, it says 7-minute read. We're not going to go into that, but now 17 of the podcast radio host listeners have filed $150 million lawsuit against him. Dave Ramsey alleging that he played a role of defrauding them of millions of dollars when he promoted a timeshare exit company that did not get them out of their contract. Ramsey was allegedly paid as much as $30 million from 2015 to 2021 to endorse Timeshare Exit Company, which collected $200 million from clients, many of whom were his listeners. Reed Hine and Associates, a Washington State-based company that was under the name Timeshare Exit Team, that was a team that got sued at the time, received $70 million in fees from Ramsey's customers. The lawsuit claims Reed Hine and Associates went out of business after settling with Washington State for more than $2.6 million. So after reading this, it seems like, again, Dave Ramsey allegedly got paid $30 million. Not sure if that number can be backed up. This company brought in over $200 million allegedly, and of that $200 million, it seems like $70 million came from Ramsey Solutions. Now, is $30 million high for bringing in 70? That seems about high. I don't know if there was a negotiation of like, we'll pay you per people that you refer, we'll pay you a flat fee. I don't know. It does seem like if Ramsey Solutions almost brought in half, that is a big chunk, a huge endorsement. But again, I want to be very clear that the $30 million is alleged, and it might not be a fraction of that. But I think it's fair to say that when Dave Ramsey even said, this is the company we endorse, this is the company that we're backing, I think it's fair to say that he got paid, because why in the world would someone endorse something or put their name behind it if they weren't getting paid? Because of things like this. Anytime you put your name behind something, you're taking a risk. The lawsuit from the 17 listeners, it is a little bit weird that there's only 17 listeners. I'm sure that there's probably a take, like you got to get this started and then other people tack on. But if these are only 17 listeners, it's hard for me to say that they should get $150 million in damages. Like, that's unheard of. That's insane. So that's just a little bit, I don't understand that number, how they're getting to that number. But again, I'll be fair to say that I don't know everything about the law and how this works. But the lawsuit from 17 listeners in Washington State and California, which was filed in April 28 in the U.S. District Court of Western District, which Washington is seeking $150 million in damages. They're pretty much saying that, you know, Dave Ramsey was negligent, misrepresented, unjust enrichment, and violation of consumer protection laws when he promoted the company that cost his listeners while he profited from the financial headache. I understand that. So they're essentially saying, you know, he was not doing his due diligence. He was promoting a company that could not back their promises. He was saying things like, they're the best, they'll give you your money back guarantee. So he was promoting that, now as we look back, not truth. And he was getting paid. These people lost their money. I can see why people are upset. So we'll have the article down below for you to read the whole thing. But here's my two cents. I've had videos that I've been tough on Dave Ramsey, especially because I'm a huge fan of life insurance when set up and used properly. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of credit cards, but we use credit cards. We have millions of points on credit cards, not because we spend out of control, because we have a business, and it's my opinion that I have more protection and get more points, and I'm going to buy things already. Why would I put it on a debit card when I could get points and stuff? I don't always agree with Dave Ramsey, but on the flip side, I have a ton of respect for who he is, how he's helped so many people. I mean, he has millions of people that listen to him. I believe he's encouraged and inspired millions of people to cut up their credit cards, spend less, because the majority of people that need to hear his message are spending out of control and need to hear that message. And so when you're on the radio every day, when you're hearing things like timeshares and all these things where a lot of people that invest in timeshares or put their money in timeshares should not, they did get screwed. There's a sense of like, hey, we want to find a solution to help you. And so the fact that a company came along and says, hey, like, we can help your customers and all of this stuff, and he endorses, like, I get that. Like, I don't know how much due diligence there was. I know that this is not going to be great for the brand, but I totally get that, because if I was in his scenario and companies would come and say, hey, like, you hate timeshares, we have a whole business that can help people get out of timeshares, and we have this track record, yada, yada, yada. I'm playing both sides. I totally see okay, like, let's do this. And if he did quote unquote his due diligence and, promoted and things were going well, but he promoted for 6 years, my question is, was there complaints or was there people that were not satisfied within those 6 years? Because it's one thing to promote something, but the moment that things start getting south or shady, do you back that up? Do you say, I'm going to double down because of the money? Or do you literally cut ties? And do you cut ties before they lose a lawsuit and all this stuff? Or do you cut ties way before because you want to do right by your listeners? I don't have the details on all of that. And I'm sure as we follow this case, we might be able to find more, because I think if you could prove that Dave Ramsey was promoting something that he knew wasn't the right thing, that he knew people were getting screwed, I think we could all agree that was wrong, and he's should pay something. I'm not sure, 150 million. I don't see where that number is justified, but I think we would all say, like, yeah, if you're promoting something that's truly something that's not good, there should be accountability for that. But if not, from a standpoint, if they saw that, everything hit the fan and then he backed out and all that stuff, I'm very empathetic to that. But I also think, you look at even what happened with other people promoting like FTX, and there's a lot of negative things that happen when you promote something and it goes south. You lose a lot of trust. And I think this is another example why we hold certain people on a pedestal like Dave Ramsey or other people. And we just have to take everything that they say with a grain of salt, because they're human and they make mistakes. I make mistakes. And this is why I'm very empathetic to this, because I know as I continue to grow and build a platform and all that stuff, I know for a fact that I'm going to be connected with somebody or promote something or share something that is not going to turn out the way that I want it. I know that for a fact. I've seen other of my friends get involved. And so that's why I'm very careful to very much lay out, like, I really want to have high integrity with how I explain things, but then also always, always, always do your due diligence, because whether it's me, whether it's someone else that you highly respect, always do your due diligence going in, because even if Dave Ramsey wasn't getting paid, which I believe he was, even if I'm not getting paid to do something, you should always double check this, because that's a huge lesson that I think we can all learn from this. Overall, what I would say is my final thoughts are, I want to see more to come. And I think it sets a dangerous precedent if we're holding people like Dave Ramsey or other people responsible for if they do a promotion or a sponsorship thing, and that sponsorship or promotion doesn't end up serving their people well. I think we need to be careful to say, okay, should Dave Ramsey get sued $150 million over that? Or should he get sued $1 million? Or 2 million, or should he give all the money back that he's earned from that? Like, I think we need to be realistic, because I think some of these big time, we throw out these numbers and it almost kind of like makes it sound ridiculous and be like, okay, we're not going to bankrupt someone over a sponsorship. But you could totally disagree with me. Like, I am putting myself in Dave Ramsey's shoes, and I understand that, you're on the radio, you're talking for hours and hours a day. You're going to have times where you're putting your foot in your mouth. And I just think we need to understand the consequences if we're going to hold people responsible for every single sponsorship that they've ever made. I think it could be a double-edged sword, because I think a lot of things, when you look back, you could just get lawsuit happy, and it kind of ties into the victim mentality of like, hey, I got screwed doing this, and I listened to Caleb, or I listened to Dave Ramsey, or I listened to Ramit Sethi, and now they steered me wrong, and so I'm going to sue them instead of taking full responsibility over my dumb actions. And I can see the other side. So welcome to Caleb's world, where I go back and forth, and I just, mainly through this reaction, you'll just get to understand how I think more, and time will tell what the verdict will be, and I'll keep you guys updated as I learn more about this. I appreciate you all subscribing, and I would love to hear your thoughts on, number one, what's your thoughts on timeshares? But number two, what is your thoughts on this? Do you agree with the people suing? Do you think Dave Ramsey's responsible? Do you think Dave Ramsey has no responsibility? Or are you somewhere in between like me, where you kind of see both sides and you're waiting for more details?